What is up, guys? Welcome to the transparency. Come on in. Woo-wee! You guys, crazy day, crazy day. Um, from literally getting stranded on a boat to hearing all of the fireworks go off in the Karen Reed case. I'll be talking about that extensively tomorrow. Um, but just to spoil alert, Kevin Albert put on paid administrative leave. That motherfucker going down. I love it. You know, it's kind of like what Jen McCabe said. I love it. I love it. But tonight's live here. It's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. And I have caused Bonner County, that's in Bonner's Ferry over there, to literally get their panties in a twist. Okay. And again, I love it. I love it. The citizens of Boundary County that live in Bonner's Ferry are going ham on social media because of a YouTuber. Can you guys guess who that YouTuber is? Damn her. I don't know what these people are so either some of them have brains and they're like, dude, she's got like evidence. She's got like receipts, okay? Like right here, how about that? See right there? That's the murder weapon that they say was the murder weapon, or they were anticipating that would be the murder weapon that they tried to get Dr. Moore all in a tizzy about, and why he falsely confessed, because this gun was given to his son from actually his son was in like, what do they call it, like, is it ski class, like when you're like the discs are being like thrown out there and like you gotta like hit them and shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, you slice and dice it. We're gonna come back to this, but this gun's ballistics don't match. No fingerprints were on this gun. And in fact, this gun was located in a case because it was given to Dr. Moore's son as a gift. And this was located in his son's room. And this was the gun that Marty Ryan threatened to pin on and say that was a murder weapon, and for Dr. Moore to falsely confess. They were going for his son. Okay. We're going to come back to that. Okay, here's all the paperwork with it as well. And they all know. That's why they're shitting their pants right now. Take a look. If you zoom on in, these are the dates of chain of custody. Imagine that. They actually have labels. 8/27/2020. Daniel Lee Moore. Man, you just get your hands on all types of shit, don't you? Sure do. This is, look at how many times they took this gun out of the chain of custody there, and they tested it, and that gun came back a big old, it ain't the gun. It ain't the gun. You sick bastards. Sick bastards. And that's the gun, and that ain't the gun. So we'll get back to that. We'll get back to the reason that I have caused literally wives of police officers who weren't even police officers at the time of Dr. Drake's murder. They're going to ham on the internet. And I'm just like, why do you care about this? It doesn't involve you. But that's just how you know that the blue be back in the blue no matter what. Okay? You don't even know what you're talking about. You were not part of it. So maybe you should just sit back and watch and just, I mean, I'm not lying. I'm literally showing you crime scene pictures. I'm literally showing you surveillance camera notes that are wrong. I'm literally telling you that they did not go and get surveillance camera that would have proved that they were wrong and that people were lying. So, but people out there in Kootenai County, Boundary County, Bonner County, they are under the impression that Dr. Moore did this and that he took the police to where he threw the gun in the river, and that they recovered this gun, and that the only reason that Dr. Moore is not facing and going forward with charges is because they screwed it up. Well, let me tell you something. That is the furthest thing from the truth. There is no gun. No gun was ever found by the police that Dr. Moore took them to and said, yeah, there's the gun in that river right there. That's right where I threw it. And that they did 4 dives. 4 dives. No gun. There is no gun. Because Dr. Moore didn't throw a gun in the river. Okay? So people in Boundary County think that because the police have allowed, and the chief and the sheriff's department, they have allowed the public over there in that area to run with the most wild shit. And I'm here to end all that. Dr. Moore didn't kill anybody. There is no gun that's in evidence. Dr. Moore didn't take them to any gun. They didn't pull any guns from any river. And there is exculpatory evidence that proves that Dr. Moore did not kill anybody at 726, let alone Brian Drake at 726, because Brian Drake, first of all, was not killed at 726. Brian Drake was killed about 30 minutes before that, maybe 24. And Dr. Moore's truck has nothing to do with this. And in fact, there's eyewitnesses that place other people there at that time, and there's a 911 call that never took place from a cell phone that allegedly was in Hayden. And so if you want to sit and say, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about because she has a twisted T, I don't give a fuck what you say or think. I don't give 2 living shits what you say or think. I think you're a moron. Because when something is black and white in front of your fucking face, I don't care what you think about me. What do you think about the evidence? You think this is all made up? This is straight from the criminal discovery that the Idaho State Police turned over to Jennifer Drake. That's where this is from. Now, the reason that I try to talk about Dr. Moore's case and Dr. Drake's case with that murder, with the Idaho4 case, is because it involves the same department, the Idaho State Police and the Idaho State Police lab. It involves their work, and their work is shit. It's disgusting. It's bad practices, bad. They're not following protocol. They're just literally doing whatever they want. And you could either say that they're corrupt or that they're inept, or you could say that they're both. Okay. But what you can't say is that they're doing their job to protect and serve, because they're not. This is the sloppiest shit I've ever seen. That and the Karen Reed case, total shit shows. Now, those of you guys that are worried, worry not. Ann Taylor is still Brian Kohlberger's attorney, and Jay is still second chair. It's the wording is the way that it is because the county is no longer running the public defender's office. And so I wanted everybody to understand that right here, Ann Taylor is not resigning from the Kohlberger case or her job, at least not the way that people are trying to put it out there because, oh, she resigned. No. She will still remain his attorney, and Jay's still second chair. This actually has to do with things that were happening with that state and has nothing to do with this case. And it's the way that they're restructuring the public defender's offices. They are being run by the state, not the counties. Brad Little has to do with that, and it was the reason that this is being handled now is because the way that it's switching over happens October of 2024. So, but yeah. So anybody out there that's saying Ann Taylor isn't Brian's lawyer, or just call up Kootenai County and ask them yourselves if you don't believe me. Just literally pick up the phone and call the public defender's office and ask them. But it's very, very simple. This resignation isn't like a resignation from what she does. This is about how the money is being restructured and who's running the public defender's office. So stupid that it was even put out the way that it was. But I couldn't tell you how many emails I got about it. So I was just like, we'll just put it to an end. We'll just talk about it. Now, so yeah, there's the gun that they tried to frame. And we're going to say that killed Brian Drake, but they couldn't because it tested negative across the board on everything. Like, didn't even come close. Now, the other thing they're going to try to hide from us in the Brian Drake case. So think about this. If they're going to hide things in that case, it's the same people that are working on the Idaho4 case. And what are they going to try to hide in that case? In the Brian Drake, Dr. Moore case, they also tried to hide what type of gun could have actually been the gun that could have killed Dr. Drake. They used 2 different labs to test the bullet, and then they did the ballistics, and I have both test results. And so I'm going to share that because it's very, very important, because there is a gun that Washington State Lab didn't include, but the Idaho State Police Lab included, which I think is really interesting. They put it in a report, in the first report when they did the ballistics. It was a 38 and a 357. Okay, 38 special and a 357. And it all had to do with the caliber of the bullet. Well, Washington State came back and said, with their lab, and they said, hold on. Or I'm sorry. Washington State, they just gave those 2. But Idaho State Police Lab came back and said, wait a second, no. It's those 2 plus one other type of gun. And that would be a 9mm. Guess what the police in Boundary County use? You guys want to guess? Guess what kind of gun Boundary County, the police in Bonners Ferry, what do you think that they rock? Well, I did my homework, and they be rocking 9mm. Shit, Lana. Damn, girl. And a 9mm is what I believe is the gun that we are looking for, is a 9mm. So, again, the type of gun that we are looking for that, and I'm going to show you guys the report. It said, though, that it came back because the way that it's, and so I wanted them to run this against a couple of these unsolved homicides. Okay. But then a 9mm, a 357, a 38 special, and one of the labs, though, decided to leave off that and not put 9mm. Very, very interesting. The other lab came back and said, yeah, most definitely 9mm, 38, 57. And lo and behold, what type of service weapons are being used by the police in Bonners Ferry? 9mm. 9 motherfucking millimeters. So, Boundary County is going to be in an uproar at that one. If you don't think that I don't think that a police officer was involved in this, you're going to have to prove to me that I'm wrong, because I have the fucking cops swarming that man's office all around it, and the sheriff's department vehicles, as well as Bonner Ferry Police Department issue vehicles. But then there's one vehicle that has no business being there on that day. And that would be, I played it for you guys. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before when I showed you guys Marty Ryan being videotaped in 2020 in his vehicle, his service-issued vehicle, his police trooper. And he is one of the only ones that was not in an SUV. Marty Ryan was in the Charger-looking car. That's what Marty Ryan had. And again, everybody else was in SUVs, all the sheriff's SUVs. And then what do I have coming up the back alley and seen on the cameras at 7:15? A Charger, Bonners Ferry Charger vehicle. And this vehicle was caught hiding behind the liquor store on El Paso. And it's caught on the Columbia Bank cameras. I've already put it out there. That car has no business being there. He wasn't working. And then let me tell you something that's crazier. Why did it take him so long to get to the scene if he was over there in his vehicle at Marty Ryan, that is? If it was 7:15 and all of these calls went out at 7:29, 7:34, 7:35. Also, on a recorded, documented body cam, Marty Ryan admits to drinking. He was drinking. Well, that's funny because Brian Drake was drinking as well. Brian Drake saw patients all day, and his blood alcohol, his BAC, was at 0.08. That's legally, like, you would get a DUI. They did not know. Check this out. How would anybody know that Brian Drake had alcohol in his system? It wasn't like they found Brian Drake at a bar in a bar. So why would any of those police officers ever think that there could be vodka in the water bottles that Brian Drake had in his office? Right? You would never think that in a million thousand years. Even if somebody had vodka in their car, in the trunk, or in a gym bag, like, the vodka bottle wasn't in his office, right? So if the guy has a vodka bottle in his car, in his gym bag, who the fuck cares? I would never think, oh my God, he was drinking while he was working. You know what I mean? And then you would think that you would have to test the water bottles if you in fact want to prove that there in fact was vodka in these water bottles. And they didn't even take them. They didn't take the water bottles. And when I say water bottles, these are actual, like, not like Gatorade looking water bottles. These are waters that you would buy from, like, the gas station that have water in them. Okay. Law enforcement could not smell alcohol on him. Brian Drake, literally, this is what's crazy. Brian Drake he was shot and killed. He laid on his office floor from 7 o'clock. Okay, until 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. on the Thursday until 7 p.m., if not a little bit later on that Friday. 24 hours. The police, Idaho State Police, took over. They did not get the search warrant to go into the building they did not go into that building until after 3 p.m. on Friday. Jennifer Drake had already made 1 or 2 phone calls to her Omaha life insurance place. Can you fucking believe that? She also was moving money from her PayPal account to her checking account. Who would even be thinking about anything like that I need to get on an app and move money? And so this is in discovery. And so it's like, okay, you don't see her phone records, and she called the life insurance company people 9 to 13 times in the same amount of days. She had her $1 million check for her life insurance on Brian. There was no life insurance on her. There was only life insurance on Brian for $1 million. She tried to get 1.25 million. They denied her because Brian had a little heavy foot with his driving, and he got like, I don't know, 4 tickets in a matter of 1 month. Okay. So they didn't have life insurance on her. They only had life insurance on him. And listen to this. She said that the reason they didn't have life insurance on her is because she's not worth anything. Like, she's like, well, Brian does everything and he works, and it's like, who takes care of the kids? Like, being a parent is like, what? Anyways, so they only have life insurance on him, and she called that company 9 to 13 times, and she had her $1 million check by April 1st, and he was dead March 12th. He was shot. Okay. Now let's talk about something else about that time period. Jennifer Drake was literally calling Gary Tolson, Marty Ryan, and Mike Van Leuven. So those are the 2 lead detectives, Gary Tolson, Mike Van Leuven from Idaho State Police. Marty Ryan is the assistant police chief of Bonners Ferry. She was calling them saying, I need you guys to call my life insurance. Like, she wasn't calling to say, hey, like, she was calling about, I need you guys to talk to life insurance people so that you guys can, because you have to be cleared. Like, when there's a homicide and you're the beneficiary, you have to be cleared of the crime. Like, it's a big deal. You just don't like call, like, oh, hey, guess what? My husband was murdered. Can you please send me my $1 million? Okay. That's not what happens. They're not just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that your husband died. We're going to send out that check tomorrow. Have a great day. No, you have to, life insurance people, that they're going to then talk to the lead detective. They have to have a death certificate. She got her death certificate of Brian Drake rushed. A rush. Who, like, I guess, like, what's the difference if you have a GoFundMe going that you got 50 or 60 grand, but don't you think that'd be like a red flag for like the police that, damn, this broad keeps calling about her life insurance? So much so that Gary Tolson, on March 26th, Gary Tolson tells the life insurance people, hey, we just started this case. We just started this investigation. We're still gathering. We're still in the gathering of information phase. Nobody has been cleared. That's what Gary Tolson says. Like, that's what you're supposed to say. Like, kudos for Gary Tolson. Like, great job. Well, Jennifer wasn't having that. And on the same day, I believe it was March 26th, one of those days, March 24th, March 26th, Jennifer was like, oh, hell no. I'm going to call Mike Van Leuven. I'm going to call Marty Ryan. And she talks to Mike Van Leuven, and Mike Van Leuven, after Gary Tolson calls and says, we haven't cleared anybody. Nobody's not a suspect. Like, it's like, we're just investigating this. Okay. We're just starting to gather, like, you're at the stage of gathering the information. And so, like, no, Jennifer Drake could not be cleared. What happens on the same day, within literally hours of that phone call? Mike Van Leuven calls up, literally Mike Van Leuven goes out of his way to call up the life insurance people. And he says that we have no reason to believe that the wife has anything to do with this. She's been really cooperative with law enforcement. And we don't have any suspects right now. That's what he says. She has been really cooperative with law enforcement, and we have no reason to suspect her. This is after you would have known. Like, so Gary Tolson's saying the opposite. Like, we're not, like, you're about to release this money. $1 million. And this was after you find out, like, the same day, that she was not forthcoming about the affairs that Brian Drake was having in Texas. She was not forthcoming about there's something off with the 911 call. It does not go back to her cell phone. That's a problem. Okay. She was forthcoming. She told you that Eldora Gatchel didn't have kids. Eldora Gatchel has kids. She told you Eldora Gatchel's husband and her have an estranged marriage, and she thinks that Eldora Gatchel's husband could have killed her husband, but has never met him. Like, doesn't even know him. Then she's all over the place. She's leading these cops on some wild fucking goose chases about a pedo guy that has kiddie porn on his laptop that they used to be friends with, but she didn't report it. Can you imagine like helping somebody out with their laptop? Oh, here, come on, Steve, let me just take a look at this. And you're trying to help somebody with their laptop, and next thing you see a bunch of little kid pornography. And you're a church going like, oh my God, Jesus Christ is like, if I could marry him, I would type of person. And you don't think to call the authorities to report what you saw. Instead, and you were asked that. She was asked that. Why aren't you reporting shit? Can you just imagine that? But instead, she tells the police that you should probably look into this guy. And the police, they never talked to him. They never talked to this guy. Anyways, needless to say, Jennifer Drake gets $1 million within 3 weeks. That is unheard of. And in an investigation where there's woo. So Mike Van Leuven goes on my chart where Gary Tolson actually said the right thing. It was Mike Van Leuven, and we have reason to believe, when I say we, me, myself, and I, have reason to believe that I want a scan done or a expert to look at the cell phone data of Jennifer Drake's and to see what date she first ever programmed Mike Van Leuven's cell phone number in her phone. I think it's really, really important. I'm curious that date. The date that it looks like comes back, but I'm not an expert, looks like it comes back before the day before Brian Drake was ever murdered. So I want some clarification on that. Very problematic if that's the case. Like, why would you have Mike Van Leuven's cell phone? I mean, if you're a CI, you would. Also, Mike Van Leuven, he was the cop that was all involved in the Kootenai County. He knew Marty Ryan, and they did work together on that special task force when Marty Ryan was up in Bonner County, doing things out of Sandpoint before he took the job in Bonners Ferry, assistant police chief. He was doing some task force shit up there, and they were working with Kootenai County and working with Idaho State Police, and he worked with Mike Van Leuven before on stuff. So it would be like a Proctor and Kevin Albert type of relationship. Them, someone's like, you've worked cases before, you guys know each other, and I'm curious on that friendship. So here we go back to like the crime scene, and I have everybody that's in a tiz whiz, like literally Boundary County is losing it. You have housewives that are fighting with other housewives on Facebook groups. Over what? These people, over what? What is there to fight about? Lana's showing fucking evidence. Lana's literally showing you guys evidence in a murder case so that you guys can know the truth, because you guys have been lied to. I don't know why I'd be fighting any. I'd be like, damn, like she's coming with some receipts. No, instead, they are coming to find out one of them is the assistant chief, the new assistant chief's wife. Garrett. The Garretts. I'm over here like, dude, do you know that they took his picture when he got promoted to be the assistant police chief? They took his picture. It's literally the thumbnail. I'm going to put it up here. They took his picture out in front of, they took it at the murder scene of Brian Drake. How could you ever, why are we taking the picture at the murder scene of Brian Drake? His office and where he was shot, allegedly, is right behind. It's in the picture. And it says on the bottom, promoted to assistant, chief of police. And I'm like, wow, what poor taste that is. Why would I be taking a picture out in front of Brian Drake's old building? Like, wow, talk about the irony here. I'd be outraged about that. Like, so that's what the thumbnail is. I had to talk about that because who the fuck takes a picture literally in front of Brian Drake's office where there was, but Bonners Ferry hasn't had a murder in how long? Like years. Like we're talking like decades. And they can take a picture of a police officer being promoted in front of that building. I think that's wild. Next on the docket. Let's see. We got that. Let me show this. What else can we get people in an uproar about? Let's see. What do I feel like? Oh, here, we can show this. Right here. This is from me taking a still shot of I'm going to show you guys the body cams of the officers. You see this truck right here? This is one of the SUVs. This is in I had to pause it right at the right spot. This is in between the drive-through of the coffee place. This is actually the drive-through of the coffee place. And it's facing, like you should actually be turned the other way if you're like actually going through the drive-through of the coffee shop to be on the main highway, which is it's not like a highway. You know what I'm talking about. But they actually pulled in, going the other way. And they stopped right in front of this would be right in front of the window of Brian Drake's blown out window. And I said to myself, well, how long has that vehicle been there? Okay. And why are they all huddled up? This is right before any of them want to say, it's like they're waiting there. It's like they're standing there waiting there. And then once somebody comes around here, we're going to say, oh my God, I see something. And it's exactly what they do. This Mike Venezuela guy, who, by the way, has lost hella weight. So maybe he's taken that Ozempic or some shit. Very curious of your diet. I just hope that it's not cocaine. I don't think that it is. But whatever it is, that man, Mike Venezuela, allegedly killed a woman. But before this, I'm looking into that. Caleb Watts' wife or ex-wife stole a bunch of money. All these guys have little, like, I don't know what's going on. But Mike, big guy, huge guy. He lost hella weight though. Like, so I'm just curious. Awesome. But right here, literally, Alan Schleff is wearing his body cam, and I'm able to get it right when he's walking past you here. Since Alan Schleff and this other guy's walking, they're like, oh gosh, I see something. I think someone's down. It's like, but what are they doing? Like, and that vehicle had been there for a minute because I have the dispatch notes. I have the CAD notes. And so something's up with this, but this is at a still, and I was able to get it perfectly where you can see this is the window side. And so you have a guy that's talking to a guy that's in the car, and you have a guy on the outside of the car. So 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, something's up with that. Just really, and none of these guys have their body cams on. No body cams are on either one of these guys at this time. Why? And this is at 7:50. The body cam started at 7:51 and 57 seconds. And this would have been at 7:53 and like 12 seconds. And they were all on scene by 7:34 to 7:38. Well, Lana's got that effect on people. Letting my membership expire might just qualify as the misdemeanor of the millennium. Welcome, Matt. Anybody else that has become a member? Let's see. We have, is this Elena? Jenna, like that name. Layla, $10. Love you, girl. Love you back. Shake that bell. That'll wake your asses up. Alice, welcome, membership land. DMC, aka Lady Died 12. What you got for me? Just appreciate all your hard work you do. Put in Bella's. Yeah, she's not coughing off that long, thank God. And then, like I said, Matt, new membership. So thank you. Would you believe it? I had a twisted tea on air for the first time, and I couldn't tell you how long. And people in Boundary County losing their dicks and tits over that. And they're like, oh, such a foul language person. Okay. Awesome. What does that have to do with the fact that your police, like I said, inept or corrupt or both? And I just could tell you this, there's no way in hell I'm raising a child in an area like this. Because if the police don't like you, then they're going to frame you for shit. They're going to, zero in on you in this type of neighborhood. But more importantly, I'm about to play you guys a clip of what Mike Valenzuela tells Alan Schluft, and they both shut off their body cams at the same time because they want to talk about what happened earlier at Dr. Drake's building at 9:30 that they don't want on body cam. So what do? I put in a FOIA request. What happens? The damn prosecutor, Plude, is that the prosecutor's name? Plude, I think that's how you say it. Andrakia, I don't fucking know. They stopped sending like peons to deal with Lana. I get the damn prosecutor, the DA. I get the DA writing me and saying that you can't have it. That's that body cam that I want. Or, I'm sorry, it wasn't a body cam that I wanted. I wanted the incident report. I wanted to know what happened up at that building at 9:30 that day. And they said that I couldn't get that information because it was part of an ongoing investigation. And I said, really? Because there was no incident report put in any of the papers. And if it was an ongoing investigation, you guys would have talked about something that took place at any type of public, establishment where the police were. And then I said I wanted all the 911 calls from that day. And they're debating on giving me that right now. I said, I'll just, write the Moores an email and tell them to go get it because they can get whatever the fuck they want. You're trying to pin a murder on a man. This would all be relevant for that. But when I got the attention of, I don't get Sweet Martha anymore, whatever her name was, Kathy Walk, she was so nice. And I think she realized on my 4-page request on how very, very specific I was being with what I wanted. She's like, okay, who is this girl? How do you know about any of this that you were even looking for? But Bonner County, which is where Sandpoint is, they gave me all the CAD notes, but some of it was redacted, but I at least got what I needed, which was Tiffany at the dispatch admitted on an open line saying that something wasn't right. That 911 caller, aka Jennifer Drake, she wasn't believing what she was saying. She's like, it's the weirdest call I've ever received. And I was like, yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, baby. In Idaho, if the police don't like you, you might find yourself staring in your own episode of Unsolved Mysteries, Wrong Place, Wrong Time edition. Yeah. Yeah, Matt. What is that, Miss Potts? Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Hello from Texas. Hello from everywhere, wherever you guys are. I did post Caleb Kakoa Nazara's funeral. If you guys want to see it, it was on a public channel. Everything that I post, for the most part, I no reason to dox anybody or whatever, but social media platforms are used to share things. And if something is out there on a public platform, if I'm just able to be smarter on how to find something, I can post whatever I want. And I usually post those in the community section for my members only stuff. And then sometimes I then will release it to anybody that's a sub of my channel. But Caleb Kakao and Azara had a funeral that they videotaped. He passed away in 2022, 23. Basically right after I got on this case, he's dead. And he died in Virginia, and that's where Marty Ryan went. Jesus, you can't make this shit up. So Caleb Kakao and Azara did not go to Hawaii like Detective Van Leuven said. He actually flew back and went to Virginia where the niece went, and he died there. But it was a really strange funeral. I've never seen like a mannequin dressed up, but just go ahead and check it out if you're a member. If not, maybe I'll release the whole thing. But it was on it was like a YouTube video. I mean, it was an actual recording, but then they uploaded it to YouTube. They did the same thing with Brian Drake's funeral. Brian Drake's funeral can be seen online. And I think I've had probably over 20 people that have reached out to me via email that have been either like interviewed in this murder, live over there and had information, were relatives of somebody that was deceased, like the victim. I've had Jennifer's family reach out to me. I've had Jennifer's ex-fiance was killed, and it was in suspicious circumstances. I had somebody that knew him reach out to me. And like I said, I'm keeping everything. Like I give people my word. If they want to stay anonymous, I get why they'd want to stay anonymous, because people like to go real life on people. Okay. But at the end of the day, there's a man who they were trying to pin a murder on that did not do it. Daniel Moore, the local guy that is your chiropractor and who worked on your kids at football games, and the wife who was the student nurse. Okay. Like, how did that town not fucking open up their paper and say to themselves, Dan Moore, you guys arrested Dan Moore for the murder of Brian Drake? And you guys, people in that town were like, how are you not like, Dan Moore wouldn't hurt a fly. Dan Moore, I just don't understand where the community wouldn't be outraged and having Dan Moore's back and being like, but instead that community is so scared of the cops and what truly goes on. And we're going to talk about this White Rose place. We're going to talk about the swinger lifestyle that's being lived over there by a ton of people, and they just don't like to talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it. People are scared to talk, yes. But I was trying to help the community and say, like, listen, the people have way more power than you think. We, the people. But you have to stick together, okay? But I just cannot believe that people did not rally around Dan Moore. And it's because Drake's case, that case, never got national attention, barely got local attention, but that's what they wanted. They wanted this to keep it all hush-hush. And here, Jennifer Drake, I'm just surprised that she wasn't like trying to get her ass in front of the cameras. But then she did. She got her ass in front of the cameras in March of 2023. And that's literally going to be the reason she goes to prison. Greed. Greed is why she's going to go to prison. I mean, and because of the shit you did. But I got Jennifer Drake on fraud. Jennifer Drake will go down. It's just a matter if it's going to be for murder or for fraud or for elderly abuse. She's probably listening to this saying, elderly abuse? How do you come up with that? Don't you worry. Don't you worry how I came up with that. You can't go scamming elderlies for like their money. That's elderly abuse. Just so you guys know. But let's talk about the swingers lifestyle, just because I want to get people in an uproar. So I want to talk about, have you guys ever heard of a place called Kokomo? No, not Kokomo. Let me get it. I want to talk about it. So, we're going to talk about, do you guys know that Bonner Ferry Library made national CNN news back, what was it, a year or two ago? So we're going to talk about that. But it was the library scandal. And like I said, we're going to get into that. But I want to talk about, yes, White Rose. So, and does anybody out there know what White Rose is? Is anybody a local in here that wants to admit to knowing if they know what the cops, if you were to type in Idaho cops and White Rose, go ahead and Google that. I'm just curious what will come up. And we're going to do it for you guys here at home. So I'm going to go into open up a tab for the internet, and I'm going to go to www.google, get my Google engine running. And then I'm going to type in White Rose Bonners Ferry, Idaho. I'm going to see if we can get anything. All right, let's see if we can do it like this. White Rose Bonners Ferry, Idaho swingers. Swingers. Let's see if that comes up like that. Idaho White Rose Spokane CDA Swingers Club. Oh, maybe I shouldn't put Bonners in. Okay, got it. Now let's take a look. This is going to be fun. All right. Boom. There we go. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Idaho White Rose, the playground for couples. This is a sex party place. This is a lifestyle community. And you have to get a membership, first of all. It's a sex club. And different. So like this coming weekend, well, Saturday, July 27th at 8 p.m. to 1. They have a wet t-shirt party in case you guys want to go to that. But there's, oh my God, you can volunteer here. Oh my God, the lifestyle. Let's go to the lifestyle page. Swinging 101. This is one of the most important things for you to know and follow in the lifestyle. No means no, guys. If you can't say no or accept a no, then the lifestyle is not for you. There may be lots of reasons why a couple/person might say no. Everyone has that right. It should not be taken personal. We are all grown-ups here. Every conversation you have will not lead to hooking up. You guys, do we need some popcorn? Because this is going to be really good. Did I come in at the wrong time? No, this is the best time. Get on in here. We're going to talk about where people in that community have hung out and that they live an alternative lifestyle, and what were truly Jennifer Drake and Brian Drake and their little church friends into. Okay. And this is really important because when you're Airbnb-ing your house out, okay, and you need a place to go hang out and stay, let's just go hang out at the fucking White Rose, okay? This is where all the PTA moms hang out. This was a big hit during COVID, guys. All right. Moving on. Don't get too hung up on the idea of the sex. If everyone is not comfortable, odds are you won't be playing. Okay. Every conversation every conversation you have will not lead to hooking up, guys. Most people enjoy talking and getting to know people first. For a lot of people, attraction is not all physical. Remember to be polite. Talk to both people in the couple, okay? If we're going to make a throuple, you want to be cool with both people. Learn to clearly express what your desires and concerns are to the other couple. It will make for a more enjoyable experience for everyone. Be sure to introduce everyone. You will look polite and charming, and everyone will be more relaxed. That's like totally Brian Drake. Brian Drake was, hey, I'm Brian. This is Jen. I have life insurance. Does anybody want to commit murder? Right here. Okay. These people are so all about their God. I'm just saying, about dear Lord Jesus Christ. I'm very down with God. But this would be considered sinning. Okay. So I'm over here because Jennifer says that if you get divorced, it's a sin. You're not supposed to get divorced. So people do murders instead of just getting divorced. But also, if you are addicted to pornography, that's a sin. Okay. So let's see what else. Ready for this part? Learn to clearly express what your desires and concerns are to the other people. It will make for a more enjoyable experience for everyone. When getting to know other couples, stay away from the quote-unquote resume. This is not a job interview. You guys are going to learn how to swing. Come on. It's far more important to know what they like sexually than what they did for a living or where they are from. So, who cares? You just want to know what they like sexually, all right, guys? Don't grab other people anywhere on their body. Don't lift up skirts or shirts. This type of behavior often makes people uncomfortable, and it makes you look like you have no class. Always ask permission. So if people are always asking for permission, this is where they're probably learning it. Even if you have played with them before, that does not give you a permission for this time. You guys, I'm going to need to get a beer. Is this giving you think Bonner's Fairy Facebook moms a little bit of hot flashes? Okay. Look for that sugar daddy not allowed. Did you guys know that in most swinging clubs, aka, well, they're usually called lifestyle clubs, in order for a guy to go into it, they have to go there with a woman, but a woman could go there alone. Or you could pay ridiculous money in Columbus and go through a background check, and then you could be a single guy to go in there. But you have to be taken back by a woman to go in a play area. And it's $250 a year to be a member. And they do sick background checks, and you can't be a felon and all this shit. So, but yeah. So this is called the White Rose. And I guess a lot of police officers hang out here, and they know who they are, and I know who they are. And now they know that I know who they are. Woo! I love it. Let's see. Don't be pushy. Let other couples move forward at their own speed. If someone catches your eye, politely tell them so. Ask them if they would like to get together, but don't hound them, asking constantly. Don't continually call or text them. Even if it doesn't happen right now, tonight doesn't mean it won't. Tonight's not forever, guys. Pushing and giving off a stalker vibe is not going to move things along faster. Remember, you're only going as fast as the slowest person. Everybody has to be okay with what is happening. God, how many people have to be involved in this? Some rules to navigate the lifestyle. Under no circumstances should you ever attempt to break up a relationship. Do you hear me? If you make a date or plan a meeting, be there. If for some reason plans have to change, give as much notice as possible. Don't be flaky. Now, Brian and Jennifer had a weekly, they had what they had as a meetup group. And there was like 4 couples. So, and I'm like, and they would go to the Drake's house. And sometimes the kids were allowed to come and sometimes they weren't. And they would call this like it's Bible study, Bible class. And now I want to know why 2 couples, about, it would have been 6 months to 8 months before Brian was murdered. I'm trying to get this girl to talk to me and come forward and talk about this. But these 2 couples ghosted the fuck out of Jennifer. And if this was like a godly meeting and like it's about the Bible and it's about scripture, and wouldn't you like just be godly and tell them, like, you wouldn't ghost them. You wouldn't ghost Jennifer when she's trying to figure out why you're not coming to, we're going to have to find a new couples because we got to have like 3 or 4 different couples that are coming to the house. And we're going to get new couples now because 2 of the couples ghosted Jennifer. I'm like, if this was about Bible study, like, why would you just be like, oh God, yeah, we're just so busy. Sorry. No, these people ghosted Jennifer. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I wonder if this was really about the Bible. And then one of the couples had a porn addiction and wanted Brian to help him get over his porn addiction. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's the last person. Brian has a porn addiction. Brian isn't allowed to have Google because of his porn addiction. Okay? Like, this is wild shit. Let's see. Always keep the first meeting as a no pressure, no obligation situation. What do you mean meeting? Aren't you just meeting at this place? Like, I have to meet with you outside of this place. I'm not meeting you outside of this place. I don't want anybody to know about this. If everyone is agreeable and wants to play, awesome. Always be honest, though. If you aren't feeling it or don't have an interest, say no. Don't take one for the team. Just give a blowjob tonight, okay, honey? I just really want to hook up with this couple. Sorry. You should never put pressure on your partner or anyone else to play for any reason. Keep talks of swinging to those you know are swingers or those who are seeking information about the lifestyle. Keep the information and identity of the others safe and secret. See, I knew it was a secret society. Don't start telling names of people. You can discuss what you did, but not who you did it with. Okay. Look your best at every meeting. See, every meeting. Like, what do you mean meetings? Like, what are you calling these meetings? We're going to AA. Look your best at every meeting and event. Dress to impress. Always show up looking good and smelling good. Oh my God. Ruby Green, what is up, girl? I see you out there. I see you wanting to know that. You're like, dude, she's got some facts over here. She's got receipts. Ruby Green, what do you want to know? Tell me what you want to know, and I'll give you some documents. What do you want to see? Because I got the receipts, and I love that you are talking it. You're out there like, hey, I'm here for the facts. I'm here for some receipts. And I think that all of us should know about this swinging lifestyle because I'm telling you, Eldora Gatchel wrote Brian one day. Just going through his texts. And she said, oh my God, did I leave my earring at your office? And I'm thinking, how the fuck do you lose an earring during a fucking chiropractic appointment? Like, come on, man. And here's Brian driving, crossing the border into Canada. And I'm like, he's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be taking patients. And so Brian's driving, crossing the border. He's in Canada. His phone notifies him that he's in Canada and says, welcome to Canada. Like, you guys know how you get those type of things. And then he deletes things on his phone that ever show that he went to Canada. Sketchy. But then and then deleted the Eldora Gatchel asking for her damn earrings. She couldn't find her earring. And if he could look for her earring. And if it was at her, his office. And I'm like, I have never called any doctor of mine, whether it was a chiropractor, whether it was for any reason, and I've never asked my doctor if my earring was at his office or her office. And so much so that Brian just didn't even respond. And then little Eldora, I don't know, the day after, the day next day, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 days, she writes him back and says, "Oh, I found my earring." Bet you did, you little hussy. I lost an earring at a chiro appointment. It's possible. What were you doing? You getting a little extra rub down there, Laura? Don't you lie, girl. I'm just kidding. I mean, he must be really working it out. Was it dangly? There has to be some reason, Lana, I want to know something. If you see this, I will ask. What is it? What do you want to know? What is it? All right, going back to looking at this. Okay, let me see. Hey guys, do not party to any illegal or unlawful activities. Always keep the image of yourself and the lifestyle community in mind. Be friendly and polite to those who you play with. Keep in mind the emotional involvement is best reserved for your spouse or your significant other. Do not get emotionally involved. This is straight up. This is just straight up. Be respectful and polite in all that you do and say. Be safe and smart with what you do and who you play with. No drama. The lifestyle is not the place to air out your dirty laundry or unload your baggage. Keep it at home. Don't get sloppy. If you can't hold your alcohol, be mindful of your consumption. It's never sexy to be a slobbering drunk. Okay, guys, that's Swinging 101. If you want a gold membership, your account, past events, the house rules. Oh, God. You guys, no touching or joining in without permission. Just because someone is naked, that does not give you permission to touch any part of their body without permission. Are we clear? The Idaho White Rose does not release or sell our members' private information to other members or other parties. They don't sell it. Oh my God. No cameras. I know there's sticklers about no cameras, no cell phones or recording devices will be allowed in public places. Now, I will say this. Keep them in your pocket or in the coat room. In Columbus, you have a phone out, they charge you. They will tackle you. Towels. The house party has a hot tub for your enjoyment and showers for convenience. So you don't have to bring your own towels. Condoms. Please bring your own condoms. Smoking, vaping. No illegal drugs. Please do not share your prescription either. Viagra is not allowed to be shared, guys. Oh my God, it's written in here. I'm dead as fuck. Violation of this rule will cause you to be removed from the house party permanently. Oh, wow. Re-entry. Please be sure that you have everything you need with you. After you leave the party, you can only re-enter the house party by paying the entry fee again. Weapons. Keep your knives at home and your 9mm. No prostitution or solicitation of any kind will be tolerated, and it will be considered a violation of the house party rules, and you'll be gone. Practice safe sex. Please use condoms and talk to potential partners before playing. All right, dress code. Each event has a theme that is directed mostly at the ladies. We hope the gentlemen participate in the theme, but do you guys have any questions? Okay, that's the house. House rules? Oh, wait, what's the house? Oh. Oh my God, here we go. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is how this works. You guys can park for free. There is a dance floor with a stripper pole on the dancing stage. Obviously, anybody can use that. There's a sitting area. Then there is a changing area with restroom. If you are concerned with privacy, bring your own locked, secure bag. We do not have lockers. You may leave your bag in our changing room. Bathrooms with showers. No playing in the showers, though. They are strictly for you to clean your body. Big covered outdoor hot tub. Drained and cleaned after every party. Really? Whoa. 6 private rooms, close the door for privacy, or open it to allow others to join in. I know that and people can just watch. Have you guys ever done this? Gone to these things? 1 private room with glass French doors for those couples that enjoy it. Yep. Yep, you can be an exhibition. 1 large group room, 1 large couples only room, various TVs playing erotic video games. What? We have secure refrigerators for you to store your drinks you have brought with you. Can you bring? We have soda pop and mixers for your drinks. We do not provide the alcohol. That's right. You can bring your own alcohol, though. All right. About us. At our events, we promote a safe, clean, sexy, and judgment-free environment for you to explore your fantasies. Maybe even take a part-time, maybe even taking a part in someone else's fantasy. We are like most lifestyle clubs. Yep, it's a lifestyle club. And focus on couples, but we also allow single females, which are called unicorns, and a very limited number of single men, which we call unicorns as well. See, wow, that's kind of, they're being kind of judgy. Because in Ohio, they allow you, like, single women and single men can go, but just the men can't go back in certain playrooms. How do I know all of this? Because during COVID, we went and all got memberships so that we can go drink because it was a private club. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not know that this existed in life? Like, just another dimension. So if anybody is in Idaho and wants to go to the White Rose, make sure you guys get your background checks. Make sure you join me because we can't go live from the White Rose. They have strict rules. But maybe we can run into some of the Drake friends because I know they go here. Now, back to the murder. This is what people were doing in Bonners Ferry, but they call themselves, they say, let's go camping. We're going camping. I didn't know that was code for, like, let's go be hoes with other people that wanted to go be hoes. But it's a lifestyle. Who was that couple? Do you guys remember what I told you? Remember they were all in the hot tub praying? Jennifer Drake told people that Brian was on social media because they're that couple that had the same Facebook page. Like, both of their page, like, it's like, Jennifer and Brian. But Jennifer was always on it. But Brian, I guess, used it and was talking to somebody in the DMs. Jennifer told their friends about this, and then Jennifer was asked about this by the police, and Jennifer said that never happened. Jennifer said that Brian has never cheated on her. Meanwhile, Brian was getting sued, and so was Jennifer, because Brian was trying to fuck patients, had fucked patients, and had fucked one of the work employees. But this was a long time ago. This was 2012, right? Well, the police asked Jennifer about this, and she said she had no idea about this. But yet there was emails all through Google of Jennifer knowing exactly what was going on and knew exactly that they were being sued and was trying to not have to pay 20 grand and instead pay like 5. Because Brian was saying that he wanted to use somebody's hair as pigtails, like handlebars, and you look like my wife or something like that. And then anyways, they were all on a trip. Okay. So she's telling the police that there was no infidelity issues in their life and Brian has never cheated on her. And I said to myself, well, maybe that's not actually a lie. Because if they're doing all of this shit, then no one's cheating. This is just their lifestyle. But I am telling you that people that are like Bible teachers and are hardcore Christians aren't supposed to be doing this. This is a sin. Okay? And so on their last vacation, there was, I don't know, 6 or 8 couples. And Jennifer said that they were all praying in the hot tub. I've never prayed in the hot tub, guys. I've done a lot of things in the hot tub. I've never prayed in a hot tub. If you've prayed in a hot tub, can you please tell me what scriptures you were like quoting? I mean, I may be saying, oh God, yeah, God, oh hell, love thy neighbor. Amen. So I think this documentary is going to be it's going to be amazing when this documentary comes out, because this case, you guys, it has it all. Okay. This case has sex, corruption, police, crazy wives, stalking, murder, covering up a murder, and all in this little town where Brian's an outsider. Like, why was Brian Drake killed in Bonners Ferry, where he was literally there 2 days a week and literally hung out with nobody, right? Like, who's gonna kill Brian Drake in Bonners Ferry at 7:00 at what? And then how could the police get it just so wrong, right? Well, we're all going to find out why soon enough. Matt says, in Idaho, they've mastered the art of turning sins into saints, where lifestyle clubs might be hidden behind church shenanigans, proving that even potatoes can have a naughty side hustle. Yeah. Well, the naughty side hustle I caught Jennifer Drake in is she's going to have a lot of explaining to do about her little scamming, her little ministry scamming ass. She's going to have a lot of explaining as to why she had $21,000 in coming through an account. She is going to have a lot of explaining, and I wouldn't want to be her. Let's all ask our churches to switch out the baptism. See how well that goes over. Yes. Hey guys, we're not baptizing you anymore unless it's in a hot tub. Cold or covered, love it. Yes. I'm local. I stay on the property. Too much weird shit going on. Ruby, I love it. Welcome, Ruby. Welcome. Well, like I told you guys, I wanted to keep this around an hour. I did not want to bore anybody down, but the community is outraged, though. I did want to talk about that. The community is outraged over the truth that I'm putting out. And I just have a very simple question. What have I said that's a lie? I literally am reading from police reports, showing body cams, showing the crime scene, and showing CAD notes that is impossible that they should not be in numerical order. I'm showing that there's no 911 call. I'm letting, Lana, who is that baby daddy? Isaac Funderburg. We're getting the results back. If Isaac Funderburg is the baby daddy of Aaliyah Sandlin's baby. If not, I got a piece of hair I want to test. So I think that the people in Bonners Ferry that are upset, or maybe, truly taken back by, I thought this was an open and shut case, that the only reason that Dr. Moore is not being, held accountable for the murder of Dr. Drake is because the police fucked it up so bad. That's kind of true, but it's not true about Dr. Moore. Dr. Moore did not kill Dr. Drake, but the police definitely fucked it up. But they fucked it up way before Dr. Moore was ever involved. You guys all go to Super One in that town. You guys all know that Super One has mad cameras. And so why wouldn't the police go and obtain that camera footage from Super One when almost every single witness that was a witness visited that store that day? And the timing of when they would have been there was very, very important in the case, especially when he caught people lying or being possibly confused, if you want to be kind about it. But more importantly, what about the coffee shop cameras? Those cameras 100% work. They 100% recorded, and I have witnesses that have come forward to say it. I also want to know why Butch was not interviewed and recorded. You guys interviewed him, and then you buried that interview, and you said, oh, he had really nothing to say, and oh, the recording device wasn't working. Butch has a friend by the name of Josh Sensing, who law enforcement in that area said to talk to, and that was Butch's known associate. And I want to know where he lived at the time of the shooting. I'll be finding out this week. But when people are approached by the police and they say, I have nothing to say, or I'm not going to talk to you. Everybody has that right, but you should be asking yourself why they don't want to talk to you. There was 3 people in this case that did that should have nothing to do with it. So why wouldn't they just say, I don't even know who that person is. Bring a lawyer or something like that. But why didn't Donna Mass want to talk? Why didn't the Masks want to talk? They're the ones that came forward saying that Scott Crawford called them asking about Brian Drake the night of the murder. I want to know if that's true. Because that doesn't make any sense. It was really hush hush at the beginning when this murder happened. They were all trying to keep hush hush who the victim was. That town was asking each other who the victim was because nobody knew who the victim was, meaning Brian Drake. Then they were all trying to find out because they were all asking each other at the different little diners or out to dinner or whatever, and messaging each other. And for a while there, people thought that the shooting, because the way that everything was blocked off, it could also look like that it happened at the coffee shop. And but it was so hush hush in that town. And the only time that you're trying to keep stuff hush hush, like this should be like, why wasn't the local where was the local media to take this on? There was a murder. Like, you can't go Google Brian Drake's name. There are no news outlets there that are doing any recordings on this. Why? I'm gonna be talking to 9B News, and I flat out asked them what the fuck they're doing, why they have not played the 911 call of Jennifer Drake, and why that 911 call is not being blasted everywhere. And then the questions coming up to the Kootenai County Dispatch to say, well, you guys don't have any record of that call ever coming into you, do you? And what if this was any other case, like if this was the Idaho4 case, can you imagine if it comes out that the Idaho4 case 911 call, there is no record of it being on, like, ever existing on someone's cell phone? The person that said that they made the call, but it doesn't exist when they extracted the data. You know what that would mean? That just means that they didn't make the call. But that would be spread far and wide through every damn state and every damn country that's following that case. Well, that's what happened in this case, okay? In the Brian Drake case, the wife says she called 911 from her cell phone. She didn't. Her cell phone records prove it, and so does Kootenai County's dispatch log records. There is no call made from her cell phone at all that whole entire day. There is no call made that whole entire month. And then the dispatch records from Kootenai County say the same thing, that no woman by the name of Jennifer Drake or her cell phone number ever called 911 that whole entire day to the Kootenai County dispatch, which means her phone was never patched through from Kootenai County, which means that when she called 911, wherever her phone was that she used, wherever it was and it originated, that's where the call started. And I believe that was the Bonner County one, because then it was patched through to Boundary County. This is also heavily proven in the police reports that Mike Van Leuven, the same guy that gave Jennifer Drake her $1 million, in the police reports that poof, a 911 disc just shows up all these months later. Like, we're talking September from a murder in March, poof, just show up out of the blue. There is no chain of custody on this 911 call that has to do with Isaac Funderburg's, has to do with Jennifer Drake's, and has to do with a gas leak. There's an answer for this, and the answer is that Jennifer Drake has to explain why her cell phone that she says made the call didn't. What phone were you using? And everybody out there that has a problem with that, okay, you guys are fucking idiots. Period. That gunshot did not go through the window from the outside. It came through the inside. We've scientifically proved it with one of the best forensic evidence specialists in the world, not just the country, the world. And the ME report on the autopsy also goes with what we have, meaning Brian Drake was not sitting at a desk, leaning over and shot through the window, because Brian Drake was not shot through like this. His is at an upward angle, going through ribs 6 and 7. And I'm this close to just putting out the autopsy. And I'm this close to making sure that the bullet is put out as well, because that bullet is in a pristine condition, like it's like the JFK bullet. I mean, the Dr. Drake's bullet that went through him, it's impeccable shape. And that bullet came from a 9mm or a 38 or a 357. And 9mm are carried by law enforcement in that county. And so run it back. You heard it here first. Idaho White Rose, we're coming for you in a good way. I'm going to go check it out and become a member. Come and swing with me. I don't have a partner though. So if I could just post up at the bar, it'd be great. And hey, the truth, it shouldn't hurt, guys. You guys should want to get to the bottom of who killed a man in your town, especially a really good family got run out of that town, and people that claim to be friends with the Moors. I think you guys are all fucking pussy ass bitches. Take that one to the bank, because no friend stands by and lets lies be told for murder. Like, this isn't like for trespassing. You guys framed a man for murder, a good man. And y'all should ask yourselves why. Why would Dr. Moore be framed? We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And Brian Kohlberger still has, obviously, Ann Taylor and Jay and the rest of the team. So join me tomorrow, because we're going to talk about Kevin Albert getting the boot. We're going to talk about Proctor. And we're going to talk a little sprinkle about Karen Reed. And is she even going to be retried again? But the latest, Kevin Albert, the Canton Select Board meeting was off the chain. Chris Albert having to look down and read his apology was just priceless. Like, dude, you couldn't just say that without looking at a piece of paper. But Kevin Albert put on paid administrative leave due to they're investigating him internally, and it has to do with a case that he worked with Proctor 2 years ago. If you do the math on that, I want to know if that's Sandra Birchmore's case. So we're trying. I'm trying. I put in 4 FOIA requests for Canton with the Birchmore case. We're trying over here. But if you see something, say something. Whoop, whoop. Join me tomorrow. Did you see the community meeting where AT resigns? No, she didn't resign like that. Ann Taylor is still 100% Brian Kohlberger's attorney. It's due to the way that they're running. The counties are running the public defender's offices, and that's being all changed. October of 2024, all of the new way that Idaho is running their public defenders, it's all running through the state. So, yes, you're resigning because you're no longer with the county being in charge, and it was all Brad Little on how he was doing the bills. So, it's a formality with restructuring of how and who's in charge and who's paying and where the money's coming from that pay for indigent lawyers. Okay. So, could it be the cold case Proctor talked about? Yeah. I mean, it could be a lot of things. I think them driving around with police troopers and being drunk and forgetting their badges and guns. I mean, I don't know. I think they should both go. Kevin Albert, I want it to come out. I want to know if John gave Kevin Albert information on drugs being sold. There was a Boston cop allegedly told the Kansas Police Department that they had witnessed and videotaped, I guess, quote unquote, like a deal, like a drug deal. Maybe they could have been steroids. Brian Drake had a drug dealer. That's going to come out. He had a steroid drug pain pill dealer, and the cops were watching Brian Drake. That's going to come out. Brian Drake or their Google account was Googling and searching for that cigar shop right before it was raided in January of 2020. Right before that, Banducci guy was taken down in an undercover sting with the Idaho State Police. And some wine cellar place. They were trying to get these. It was stuff that Van Leeuwen and Gary Tolson were heading. So that's why I want to know if the Drakes had anything to do with being informants. Lana, are you going to attend any of the? Yes, I am. I will be there. I'll be in Idaho next week. I got a couple of things to do. And I'll be there for the end of August when I'll be there for that hearing. Yes. As long as they're going to be streaming everything, I hope that they have a plan with the streaming to be able to see if there's any like exhibits and stuff. That's going to be really hard to do via YouTube stream. And I don't know how you're not going to be able to see exhibits because it's not like a camera that can just like, now we're going to go over here. It'll be interesting. Hopefully they're talking about it. Because remember the one day with the Karen Reed case when they did it like through Zoom kind of. Remember that one witness? It was just horrible. And like it was something that we really needed to see too because it was the phone day of that fucking broad. Shay's going to hit up the White Rose tonight. Anyone here from Utah? Yeah, we got some Utah people. Wow, they there about tip this description over here. You know what? I've hit the tip line, and every time you hit the tip line, guys, just so you know, when you ever give a tip, it's part of discovery. So you make the criminal discovery, like you're making the discovery. So if you ever calling a tip line, and it should be then part of discovery, and it's given to the defense. Well, in the Moore Drake case, I know that I've called. I want to call right now, but I'm just too tired. I want to call a couple of the people in Idaho. I want to talk to Kim, the woman that Brian Drake said, "Will you rub my balls? They're sore." I want to ask her about a question about a younger girl that was working there that was 22. I want to ask her if she ever saw Brian Drake with this deli worker who was 22. So, Hellcat here from Idaho. Love it. Law enforcement at LEO at this White Rose. Yeah, in Bonners Ferry. Please out them. Oh, dear God. Yeah, law enforcement go to the White Rose. It's like a little PTA moms type thing. It's a lifestyle. Nobody talks about it, but they all hide behind Jesus Christ. Like, it's Jennifer Drake to a T. I'm debating. I'm so close to when I'm gonna out the list of names that I'm about to out with who Jennifer Drake has scammed. Jennifer Drake has scammed more than, like, I'm talking over 50 grand in scams. Like, Jennifer Drake, girl, hopefully you're calling the IRS and be like, oh my God, you know what? I didn't even realize this. I totally forgot to claim this. But you're going to have a lot to answer to with what the hell this woman has done. I just never heard of in my life a mom letting ex-heroin junkies of just like a couple days fresh out of rehab, or who even knows if they went to rehab, driving their kids around and letting them hang out with their kids. And I'm sorry, but I'm all for like giving people like second chances and everything like that, but I'm going to be really cautious of like my kid and who my kid's hanging out with. But Jennifer Drake was Airbnb-ing their own property, like their own one. They owned one piece of property, and she's Airbnb-ing it during the school year, during school time, and then making her kids stay at like friends' houses. And then she's taking whoever didn't get to stay at a friend's house and sleeping on the floor of like the dog breeder's house. And then some of the nights staying at Brian's office, sleeping on that damn pull-out couch. Or they would go camping, or they would send the kids to like the grandparents' house. But they're buying used mattresses. I want to barf. I want to absolutely barf. Like, this is not like, have you ever bought a mattress off Craigslist? I've never. I would never. Okay. Because of my show, guys, Jennifer Drake decided to take her guns and go turn them into the police and say, can you test my guns so that I can prove that none of my guns match Brian Drake's like ballistics? And then I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck would Jen ever have to do that? The cops have already done that. Like 3 or 4 years later, you're saying, here, can you take my guns and can you test them? Because of my YouTube channel. Girl, Jen, I never said that you shot your husband. I don't think that you shot him. You didn't shoot him. You orchestrated the fuck out of it. Girl, and let me tell you something, Jen. I don't think that even if you did shoot him with your gun, that'd be a gun that you just take back home and put under your mattress. But just wild shit. I want them to test all those Popo's guns. Let's really check those 9mm. And if these cops are so not crooked, they should have no problem. I want to talk to Dave McClellan. I want to ask Dave McClellan how many times he touched Brian Drake's phone that night. I have a lot of questions, and I think that the questions that I have are legit. They need answered. Dead man his phone doesn't walk around after he's dead. And I think Brian Drake's phone was moving around after he's dead. I definitely know that somebody picked it up and got into his phone and looked at 2 text messages. I can prove that. That's 100% provable. And the Cellbrite extraction that the police have shows that. So why the police wouldn't say, oh, well, who the heck opened Brian Drake's text messages after he was dead? You know, when y'all put in your reports that nobody touched anything. Liars. And then don't you think it's odd that Brian Drake would have his Life 360 app on the day that he's murdered? He would disable location services to his wife. Wild, right? But nothing to see over here. Don't look over here. But Boundary County, this one was for you. I hope you got your panties in a twist. See you at the Idaho Rose. Peace. Sus.